It's been the story of the season. Key parts of the Magic's identity going by the wayside. A big one continued to hurt them today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is March 11th, 2025. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. Believe it or not, if you're not watching, it is me, Philip Rossman-Reich. I am kind of a little bit under the weather today. But it is me, Philip Rossman-Reich, the host of Locked On Magic. You can find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, we're going to talk about the rebounding issue, the Orlando Magic fall to the Houston Rockets, the physical toll, and how the Magic aren't hitting back. We'll talk about that today. Plus, get into some of the bench issues as I'm going to try and finish this episode quickly because I am not feeling great, as you can tell by my voice. We get to all that coming up here in just one. First, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. You make Locked On Magic even bigger part of your day with the Locked On Magic Daily Newsletter, the one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. And start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic Newsletter. Like I said after Saturday's game, and this is like the theme, and I think this is going to be, I think this is where just a lot of fans are. A lot of people that I talk to are rightfully frustrated, rightfully upset, rightfully disappointed with this team. And I think even the Magic are, as much as they want to try to avoid it, thinking of the same thing. We're trying to compare this team to who we think they should be instead of recognizing the team that they are. The Orlando Magic are not the team they should be. They're not going to hit their expectations. They're not going to hit those marks. They're not that team. And it is, we'll reckon with that. We will analyze that and get to that in the offseason. But it is inescapable for us to say, this is who this Magic team is. We know what the best version of this team looks like and what the best version of this team needs to do. And so it is, even though it's no longer surprising, it is disappointing to watch this team struggle to be that, to know the formula, to know what they have to do, and struggle to execute, and struggle to be that team. In Monday's game, the Orlando Magic continued to let go of the rope on a key part of their identity. And even though there were elements of this game that worked out well, and even though the thing we're going to talk a lot about didn't hurt the Magic as much statistically, it's the mental edge that matters. It's the intangibles that matter. In the ideal version of this Orlando Magic team, they are the more physical team. They are the team that punches first, that doesn't back down. They are the gnat you can't get rid of. They play with so much energy, you can't match them and you can't beat them. That is Orlando Magic basketball. That is the way the Magic want to play. That is what this team looks and feels like when they are at their best. And time again now, we are seeing the Magic not play that way. We are seeing the Magic struggle to be the best version of themselves, to be that team that no one can beat, that no one can outwork, can out physical, can out tough. I mean, look, Steven Adams had 11 offensive rebounds. The Houston Rockets had 20 offensive rebounds. They rebounded nearly 50% of their own misses. A plus 40% offensive rebound rate is just disgusting. Now, the Rockets scored only 19 points off those 20 offensive rebounds. They were 6 for 17 on field goals after offensive rebounds. Orlando had more second chance points. So while, yes, 11 offensive rebounds from Steven Adams, 6 offensive rebounds from Alperen Şengün, the Rockets got to the board a lot, but they didn't convert. There were big moments. There were big back-breaking threes, but the offensive rebounding on its own is not why the Magic lost. It's a big part of it, though, because it's the tone and tempo that it sets. That the Rockets were the more hungry, more physical team. That, yes, the ball may have bounced their way or they may have been the taller, stronger team. They outworked and out-physicaled the Magic. And with all the flaws inherent in this team, and we're going to get to one of them coming up here in a minute, with all the flaws inherent to this team, that just cannot happen. When the Magic were at their best this season, forget last season, when the Magic were at their best this season, they tried harder than everyone else. You couldn't deny it. You could only watch and see this Magic team play super duper hard. Where has that gone? What has happened to that team? They've had it beaten out of them a little bit. There's a little bit of a loss of faith. There's a little bit of a lack of trust. There's a little bit of bad thing happens, I'm going to put my head down. The kind of thing that a team with talent and roster issues cannot afford. The Cavs can get away with sleepwalking through a half quarter. This Magic team cannot. And that would be the case even if they were healthy. Now, obviously, like missing Jalen Suggs and Moe Wagner, those are two huge energy players that lift this team up. They may not fix these issues, but they never let the team get too far down. And yet, this has been the problem. Look, we know the Magic are not going to shoot well. Like, I'm not going to pretend to say that this game has anything else to do other than the Rockets made 16 threes, the Magic made 8. Like, that's the game. That was the basketball game. The Rockets got more shot opportunities. They got more rebounds. They controlled the tempo of the game. They stopped the Magic, held them to one. They didn't hold them to one shot because Orlando got 21 second chance points. But Houston kept Orlando's offense in check. Not a hard thing to do, apparently. But Orlando missed shots at the rim. They missed shots at the paint. They got frustrated. Their turnovers didn't even hurt them. 9 turnovers for 4 points. Houston played poorly. But because they worked harder, because they won all those 50-50 balls, because they won the offensive glass, the Magic didn't have a chance. But the way this team is, who this team is, they have to play well. They need Paolo and Franz to play well. Paolo had 25 points on 10 for 23 shooting, settled for shots in the second half. Franz Wagner had 15 points, but shot 6 for 17. They only got to the line 4 times each. And while Franz had 7 rebounds, 5 assists for a nice overall game, it wasn't good. Cole Anthony, who's been so vital as a third scorer, was 4 for 13 and 1 for 6 from 3. The Magic gave up all those offensive rebounds, but let's be real. The Magic aren't beating anybody shooting like that. The Magic not only had a game where they got outworked, they had a game where they couldn't shoot. If the Magic had made some shots, they could overcome all the other stuff. But so far too often, the Magic let these plays drain them of energy. And right now, excuse me, right now, Orlando has nowhere else to turn. I mentioned how much Paolo struggled, and I wouldn't say struggled, but he wasn't efficient. I mentioned how much Franz struggled. I mentioned how much Cole struggled. Where else is the scoring coming from? And that is the next piece of this puzzle. We'll talk about what the Magic are missing and why their bench group is in the dumps coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Skims. When I found out Skims was making underwear for men, I was intrigued because the product looked really nice. They got the NBA ads. It's really great. You've heard so much about their quality from friends and family, so I gave it a try. Skims sent us some. I actually bought my own because let me tell you, Skims lives up to the hype. Underwear is weird. Talking about underwear is weird. Fit, comfort, just finding the right style. You don't want to think about it. Skims changed all that. Their men's line offers something for everyone, from boxer briefs to classic briefs, all designed with the perfect balance of comfort and style. I've tried Skims. I've never been a briefs person. I tried their briefs, and now I think I'm a briefs person. I'm hooked. They're perfect for your active lifestyle. They move with you, so as you move, it moves. Takes up less room, which is also kind of nice. I found boxers to be a little restrictive now that I've actually worn these Skims briefs. They never lose their shape, and they stay in place all day. Whether you're working out or just running errands, they're the most comfortable and reliable underwear I've ever owned. Plus, the lightweight material feels amazing, almost like you're wearing nothing at all. Shop Skims Men's at skims.com/LockedOnNBA and Skims stores. Let them know we sent you after you place your order. Select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. Again, that's skims.com/LockedOnNBA. Like I said, so much of this season feels like it is trying to measure this team against who we think they should be. And I think like that's going to be one of the stories we tell ourselves. But again, push that to the side. Push expectations to the side. Push season recap to the side. We will get to that in May, in April, in late April. There will be a lot of time and a lot to say about the Magic this season. But I think the place we have to start, the place that makes the most sense, the place that we need to focus on now is, how does this team win? What is the formula for this group to win? Because there is still a lot to play for. The Hawks won. They're now a game and a half up on the Magic for the Southeast Division lead. Orlando still has 2 more games against Atlanta. As long as the Magic are within 2 games of the Hawks by that last week of the season, the Magic control their own destiny. Beat Atlanta twice, you win the division. It's really simple. Just stay in the race. We got a long way to go before we get there, but that's the math. The Magic and the Heat lost. So the Magic and Heat are still technically tied. The Heat lost to the Hornets. Division record is the first tiebreaker between the two teams since they split the season series. So the Magic are in good shape. They're 8-3, and Miami's 7-5. Magic are in good shape there. They still got 2 games against Washington, a game against Charlotte, and 2 games against Atlanta. The Magic have to find their formula to win. And right now, that formula is very dependent on Paolo and Franz. So look, again, not hiding it here Monday. Paolo and Franz weren't good enough. To be the level that the Magic need to be at, they weren't good enough. Here are the numbers that back this up. Entering Monday's game, so I'm not going to look up. I'm not looking. I'm looking up something else while we're doing this. I'm not going to look up more. Entering Monday's game, the Magic have a minus 1.7 net rating for the season, and they're minus 3.3 since the break. When Paolo and Franz are on the floor together, they're a minus 0.6 overall. They're plus 7.9 since the break. Since the All-Star break, no one should be complaining about the way Paolo, Banchero, and Franz Wagner are playing. They have been awesome. They have been great. It's finding the supporting cast that matters. Why did the Magic win on Saturday, Cole Anthony had 20 points. Anthony Black came off the bench for 11. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope had 9. The Magic got scoring elsewhere. But this has been the struggle. Part of the Magic's formula last year was getting bench scoring. Orlando last year finished 4th in the league in bench scoring. They were one of the best. They were one of the deepest scoring teams in the league. Before Moe Wagner got hurt on December 21st, or through that game, actually, the Magic were 5th in the league, scoring 40 points per game off the bench. 40 points per game off the bench. That is a huge boost. Huge boost. Since the All-Star break, though, or since Moe Wagner's injury, let me pull those stats up here. Sorry, I'm looking them up. I'm making sure I get the updated stats here. Since Moe Wagner's injury, the Magic are 20th, scoring 32.9 points per game off the bench. Again, that's a 7-point difference from where they were before Wagner, but hugely impactful. Since the All-Star break, the Orlando Magic are averaging only 25.5 points per game. They have lost 14.5 points per game since Moe Wagner's injury after the All-Star break. And this is a team that relies on its bench to score. Now, there are other factors. It's not just Moe Wagner being out. It's Cole Anthony stepping into the starting line for Jalen Suggs. You look at the Magic's bench, who's the scorer? Who's the creator? You want it to be Anthony Black. This has been a huge test for Anthony Black. We talked about that earlier. It's a huge test for Anthony Black, and he's struggling. He's inconsistent. He's a second-year player, but he doesn't look the part. The Orlando Magic's biggest struggle, the biggest frustration, is they just don't have enough offensive-minded players. Moe Wagner was one. Jalen Suggs pushing Cole Anthony to the bench was another. It's just math. So much of this is just math. The Magic don't score enough. They don't make enough threes when other teams get hot. Jeff Green hit 3 threes in the fourth quarter. Jabari Smith hit 5 threes in the game. They don't have enough three-point shooting to keep up. They don't have enough bench scoring to let their bench behind. Let's look at this. Look at it this way. The Orlando Magic, again, minus 3.3 net rating entering the game on Monday. That obviously just got worse. The Orlando Magic starting lineup since the All-Star break has played the most minutes of any 5-man lineup in the league, 158 minutes. They had it bad. They broke even on the plus-minus, but they were minus whatever they were. The Magic starting lineup on a team that has a minus 3.3 net rating, and obviously decreased entering Monday's game, has a plus 19.4 net rating since the All-Star break. 119.4 offensive rating, which is really good. And a 100 defensive rating, which is also really good. The Magic have an elite starting lineup since the All-Star break. And that's with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope struggling, with Wendell Carter struggles, with all that stuff. That means they're down 22 points when that starting lineup is not in the game. Their bench group, their main bench group, let's just pull that up here. Let me pull that up real fast. Since the All-Star break, the Magic's most used bench lineup of Anthony Black, Franz Wagner, Tristan da Silva, Jonathan Isaac, Goga Batadze in 34 minutes is minus 18.3. Minus 18.3. The lineup with Jet Howard instead of Tristan da Silva is minus 14.9. The Magic's bench hasn't been delivering. And Jamal Mosley is obviously, he's searching for some offense. He's searching for anything. The Magic can't function with both Paolo and Franz out. And increasingly right now, they can't function with either of them out. And that is a bench that just cannot score. All the offensive eggs are in the starting lineup basket. And there's no changing that, by the way. That is what they have to do. They need that lineup to be successful. And obviously, like Monday, it wasn't. Monday, they broke even by my quick math. They were +4 in the first quarter, -4 in the third. Didn't really play together since. The Magic just don't have enough scoring and enough scores. And I know I'm not breaking news here. That's what the offseason is going to focus on. Orlando needs to find another player who wants to score so that when Jalen Suggs and Moe Wagner come back, they'll have extra scores. If it's Paolo, Franz, Cole, Jalen, Moe, and then add, let's just go ahead and say, like, add Kobe White, add someone else that wants to score, add a maybe draft pick that wants to score, that'll go a long way to fixing so many issues with this team. Like I said, that is an offseason concern. Right now, there is no fix. Right now, the fix is Anthony Black needs to show up. Right now, the fix is Cole Anthony has to be 15 points per game. Wendell Carter has to be a double-double every night. Right now, they need to find someone else who is going to add some scoring because Paolo and Franz will get you close to 25 each on most nights. They didn't Monday night, obviously. But with better rebounding, with better physicality, with better shooting, they might have had a chance to win this game because that group's been so good. But the bench is just simply not delivering. And that's a hard thing to fix right now. I don't have much time. I gotta take a break. I gotta be done. We'll go through the box score real fast coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Wayfair. Your home should reflect your style. And with Wayfair, it's easier than ever to make that happen. Whether you're looking for a simple refresh or tackling a big home project, Wayfair has everything you need in one place. Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find the perfect piece no matter your space or budget. From cozy furniture and stylish decor to kitchen essentials and outdoor must-haves, Wayfair has it all and at prices that fit your budget. Finding the perfect piece is so easy. If you need that new rug to tie your living room together, Wayfair has so many stylish options and great prices. The site has made it simple to compare styles, and your order arrives fast with free delivery. Head over to wayfair.com and find something that's just your style today. That's Wayfair, Wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Thanks again for sticking with me. I am very, very sorry. I am feeling a bit under the weather today. Had to cancel some plans just to make sure I could get through the game, get through the show. I got some NyQuil waiting for me when I get off the air here and finish publishing. But let's run through the box scores we always do after Magic losses as the Orlando Magic fall to the Houston Rockets, 97-84. Just frankly, a very frustrating game. Shots didn't go down. That's obviously the first place to start. Orlando outscores Houston in the paint 36-28. 36 is still an incredibly low number. They're 18 for 42 in the paint. You're shooting just 43% in the paint. That's partly, yes, Houston's big. But look, Franz Wagner missed a lot of shots he's normally going to make. He just didn't have his floater game going, his runner game going, just wasn't going down. Paolo Banchero was trying to get his way to the line. He only took 4 free throws. Ended up settling for a lot of jumpers during the third quarter when Orlando let the lead get a little bit too far out of hand. The Magic were up, I believe it was 19-10. Everything looked to be going well. Magic broke the lineup. Houston came back, ended the quarter on a 13-0 run. Third quarter, Orlando just couldn't score. 16 points. Houston was able to race ahead, keep that lead, never really get threatened. Just a really frustrating game because the Magic did so many things well. They just couldn't hit shots. And then defensively, they were really good. Houston only scored 104 points per 100 possessions. They shot 39.3% from the floor, 11 for 18 from the line, so they didn't get to the line. They turned it over 20 times. Orlando did the things defensively to keep themselves in the game. And again, yes, Houston had 20 offensive rebounds, but only 19 second chance points. So Orlando's defense recovered. But there is just this physical toll that takes when you're getting beat on rebounds. And there's just a mental toll, just it breaks you. And I think the Magic even admitted after the game that it broke them a little bit, that they weren't able to execute the same level they did on Saturday night. Like I said, Paolo was fine, not great. Franz missed shots, not great. No one else scored. Like Wendell Carter in about 30 minutes, 8 points, 12 rebounds. He still had 5 offensive rebounds. Orlando, like this is the stat that's crazy about this game. Orlando had more second chance points than Houston. On 13 offensive rebounds, Orlando scored 21 second chance points. Yes, Wendell Carter got beat a lot for offensive rebounds. Got beat up a ton on the glass. He's still rebounding better, and the Magic are still a decent rebounding team. They've slipped since the All-Star break, but 12 rebounds for him, 8 points. It's 1 for 4 from 3. Those were 3 of his 6 misses. Just if you know me, I think Wendell gets unfairly scapegoated for a lot of issues with this team. But look, he has shortcomings. He is a smaller center. Şengün was able to move him off his spot, even though I thought generally they played good defense on Şengün. Limited shot opportunities. He was 5 for 9, 14 points, 14 rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds, 6 turnovers. We'll talk about those in a minute. Not a good game for Carter overall. But he was in the fight. Like, he was getting beat, but he was in the fight. But the Magic need more scoring. And they need a dunker spot center. They need an above-the-rim center. And Goga Bitadze isn't that anymore. 4 points, 5 fouls, 2 rebounds. Goga Bitadze got crushed by Steven Adams, so there's just no good options right now. And the Magic are just, like, honestly, like, Jamal Mosley's throwing stuff against the wall, trying to find answers. Cole Anthony, like I mentioned, 4 for 13, 9 points, 1 for 6 from 3. Just, they need scoring. And he's been a reliable three-point shooter. He entered the game shooting 40% from 3 since the All-Star break. Had a bad shooting game. You can live with that. Again, Anthony Black is just so key to what the Magic are doing. And that's the biggest bet the Magic have lost this year. And again, I think Anthony Black's gotten better. People are like, the Magic need better development coaches. Something. No. Anthony Black's gotten better. The problem is the Magic need Anthony Black to be more than what he is. And we can debate that. Certainly that decision is blown up in their faces. Anthony Black, 3 points, 0 for 4 shooting, 3 for 4 from the foul line. Not a lot to say about Anthony Black besides that. You go down the list, not a lot of guys taking shots. Paolo took 23. Franz took 17. Cole took 13. Wendell took 8. No one else took more than 5. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope didn't even take a shot. A lot of people are banging on KCP for that. That's not Kenny's fault. The ball didn't swing to him because the Magic didn't move the ball. And look, some of that is the Magic were looking to take quick shots. Some of that is the Magic were not making the extra pass because, yeah, Kenny's a 30% three-point shooter this year. If I'm Paolo Banchero, part of me, I can kind of understand where he comes from, where he believes a contested mid-range shot is a better, higher percentage shot than making the extra pass to Kenny in the corner, especially with some of the misses Kenny has had lately. Even though I think those are not representative of him overall, that is, like, people remember those shots. You know the shots I'm talking about. The Magic's offense is just all out of whack. There's just, again, this lack of trust. Jamal Mosley's throwing stuff against the wall. He's playing Caleb Houston. Gary Harris is back in the rotation now. Tristan da Silva's minutes are all over the place. Jonathan Isaac didn't even play till the second quarter for some reason. Jonathan Isaac was was one of the better players on the floor for the Magic. 8 points, 2 for 4 shooting from 3. 3 steals, 1 block. All 3 of those steals, I think, were on Alperen Şengün. He was the Şengün stopper. Like, honestly, start him against Alperen Şengün when they come to town on Tuesday. Match his minutes. The Magic, like, completely destroyed Şengün. Isaac was physical, was aggressive. Like, he set the tone. Again, he's just not big enough to deal with Steven Adams, which is why the Magic avoided that matchup. It's the Magic just aren't getting enough. Like, I don't know how to say that any other way. Their formula is pretty evident. They did a lot of things in their formula. They just don't make enough shots. I don't know what else I need to say about that. They shoot 32.6% from the floor, 8 for 32 from 3. They were 2 for 7 in the first quarter, 3 for 12 in the second, 2 for 5 in the third, and 1 for 8 in the fourth. Just, they're not like taking too many threes. And I thought they settled for threes in the second and third, especially. They're not taking too many threes. They're just not making them. And I thought they were good looks for the most part. Houston put a zone on Orlando. A lot of quick shots coming out of that, but not looks you should complain about a ton. The Magic just don't have enough force. And again, that's really where the rebounding came in. Again, Steven Adams had a double-double at halftime. 11 points, 17 rebounds, 11 offensive rebounds. Jabari Smith, 20.7 rebounds, 5 for 10 shooting from 3. The Rockets made enough threes in bunches. They had 16-8. That's your ball game. The Rockets made threes in bunches to just pull away. Just plain and simple. Dylan Brooks, 3 for 9, 17 points. Jalen Green made 3 of 9, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, also 4 turnovers. Jeff Green made 3 threes, was 3 for 6. The Magic defended well enough, but not well enough for how bad their offense was and how many offensive rebounds they were giving up. If they turn some of those offensive rebounds into defensive rebounds, get out in transition, very different game, very winnable game. Houston didn't play great. The Magic just, right now, just plain and simple, aren't good enough. Aren't good enough to have bad games and win. That was not the case last year. And so, again, I want to avoid doing that, but that's the reality. This is not last year's team. This is a worse version of last year's team. Players have not developed the way that they needed to. Players are not performing on a nightly basis the way they needed to, and that's why the Magic are 8th. It's not rocket science. The offseason will come. We'll deal with the offseason when we get there. The Magic just have to kind of find their identity, find their formula for the rest of the season, and make the most of what they have left. Again, frankly, outside of Jonathan Isaac, nobody did that. Nobody did that Monday night. Just a really, really poor game overall from Orlando. But hey, we made it through. I made it through. And I want to thank you for making it through my terrible voice today. That's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. Find me on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast at Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all Philly Style podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. You can find us as well on YouTube. Just search for Locked On Magic, and on Instagram at Locked On Magic. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. As if all that's not enough, I also write a daily newsletter. The Locked On Magic Daily Newsletter is the one-stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. We'll see what we talk about tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. We're gonna have a special guest tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be a fun episode. I'll save that for there, but definitely subscribe to be ready for tomorrow's episode. I'm delirious. I'm sick. I need to go to bed. That's going to do it for me, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic. This has been Philip Rossman-Wright. Thank you again for listening to another episode of Locked On Magic.